Welcome in, folks. Kevin Thomas, John Epps here from Movin the Chains, here with our Week 2 high school football preview show, John. Another great week last week. Week 0 was kind of a stinker, but Week 1 really turned out to have some really good ball games in it.
Yeah, we actually had some closer games than we had in Week 0, so that was nice to have.
No doubt about it. This is you guys' first time tuning in. We appreciate you guys. Like, share, everything here on Facebook. Our Facebook obviously handle is Movin Chains. Same handle on Twitter, Instagram as well, MOVINCHAINS. Also, our brand new website, movinchains.com. We've got a message board on there. We've got our players of the week. We've got our locker room. We can do a message board there. We've got the road trip. Lots of really cool stuff on there for you guys to check out. So go to movinchains.com there. Like I said, this is our Week 2 preview show from Security Advantage Federal Credit Union, John. Anything else to say here before we get into some of our games of the week?
Well, let's get into it.
Awesome. Our games of the week are brought to you by Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates, John. The first game we've got here, a 4A, 3A clash. We've got Hartsville traveling to Camden. Both squads 2-0. Both squads come off of big victories from last week.
Yeah, I tell you what, and we're actually going to have two really good teams going together. We thought Camden was playing a pretty good team in Week 0 in Myrtle Beach. May not be the case, but these two teams have really got it going. I feel like we don't know a ton about how good they really are. Hartsville beat up on Conway, first game of the year, and then shut out Darlington last week. Camden had their way with Myrtle Beach, and then, of course, the annual beatdown League of Belgium last week. So neither team has been tested yet, and this game will certainly test both of them. Yeah,
no doubt about it. He said last week, Hartsville defeated Darlington 68-0. Camden took out Lugoff Elgin 53-7. Quarterback Grayson White had 4 passing TDs. That gives him 7 passing TDs and 2 rushing TDs already on the year, John, for Camden there. Great start for Grayson in that offense. Running backs Cortez Lane and Avery Hickman both had over 100 yards, and wide receiver Ja Myrant caught 6 for 165 and a touchdown. We know about the defense led by, Shamik Jones and Xavier McLeod. Not sure the situation there. We know he didn't play last week. We don't really know what the deal is there. He may be back this week. He may not be. I don't know. We shall see. Hartsville led by Jay Sean Anderson, a really good running back there. Quarterback McKendry Douglas. Head coach Calabrese did a great job. John, this game last year in Hartsville, Camden won 43-37. Did the Bulldogs win at home this year again, or can the Red Foxes come back and kind of get some revenge?
I'm leaning Red Foxes in this game. I think Camden is probably as good as they were last year. I don't know if they're – I'm hard-pressed to think that they're better. They could be. They certainly could be. But I like Hartsville in this game. A huge win for Camden last year in this ball game. I'm down on Hartsville. But I'm leaning Hartsville on this one.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, I love that Anderson get it running back. You know that. I think he's a really good player. Douglas is a super athletic guy, quarterback too, that really gives them some different options there. Camden, with what they've done offensively with Grayson White, has been super impressive to me.
It certainly has.
That's been always kind of the worry, when we've seen them play Daniel and those teams kind of, when it matters in the potential games, they can't really keep up with them just because they can't score enough. But this year, with what they're doing already, them having 7 touchdowns passing, another 2 rushing, the kids, the running backs Lane and Hickman, that offense looks really good. But I think I've got to lean Hartsville as well. I think they're kind of be a little frustrated from that game last year. Like I said, Anderson, I think, is going to have a big game running the ball for those guys, right?
And you could have a much bigger game if McLeod does not play.
No doubt about that.
That is a big, big key for this one. Again, don't know the whole situation there, but it's sounding like he may not play Friday. We'll see. We'll find out Friday.
Yeah, so you guys just tuning in. South Carolina commitment Xavier McLeod did not play last week for Camden. Not sure what the situation is there. We don't know if he's back this week or not, but we shall see. A couple comments here. Kevron says, good evening, go Gray. Appreciate you, Kevron. Adrian says, Louisville. Another big win for those guys, Adrian. Yeah. Chad says, go Fort D. Big win for those guys last week. Chris and Pedro say, what's up? What's up, fellas? Your Indians have a big game this week as well. Zach says, how about Clinton? Another big win for those guys. They smoked Lawrence. That was a fun one to check on for sure. But, John, let's get now into our second Kona game of the week. That's Ridgeview at Lower Richland. Both teams 1-1. Ridgeview coming off a 15-14 loss to Sumter last second, a 2-point conversion there. Lower Richland coming off a nice bounce-back win, 35-8 over Westwood. What do you see happening between the Blazers and the Diamond Hornets Friday?
Well, the Ridgeview defense has been solid to start, coming out the gate. But, we say it every time we're at a game. We're looking at the score, following on. Like, when is Ridgeview going to start putting up some points? They got the talent. They got all kind of talent on the outside. Got to start putting up some points. And then Lower Richland, a team that plays pretty good defense.
Yeah.
You know, West Ashley got in that first game, but West Ashley might be a pretty good team, it turns out.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Ridgeview is too good.
Yeah.
I like them in this game because I think they've got the talent, and at some point they're going to figure it out on offense. They have to. Whether that's this week, whether it's down the road, who knows? But they're going to figure it out at some point in time, and I hope it's sooner than later.
Yeah, for sure. And, yeah, I think our word for those guys coming into the year was the quarterback play.
Yeah,
they kind of settled on the Tomlin kid. And I feel like he didn't play bad last week. He threw 2 touchdown passes against some good soft defense, which is not bad.
Very good.
But we just think that with this talent, they could be scoring 28-35 a game. You know, that's kind of what we're looking for. But I think this might be the game they break out. You know, he's trending in the right direction. Obviously, the guys McDaniel, Stevens, Agnew, Lawson, those guys outside are really good. But like you mentioned, the defense has been surprising. They've done a good job over there. Lower Richland, led by Nate Branch, receiver, the Coastal, or actually just decommitted from Coastal, actually. Running back Lemarion Pearson had 3 touchdowns last week. I think Ridgeview a little too much firepower. I think they kind of break out a little bit this way. I think they do beat Lower Richland at home.
Yeah, and gosh, Pearson had such a good game last week, considering him for Player of the Week myself. But that Ridgeview defense, I think, can neutralize him pretty well. And I think I said this last week. I think I picked Ridgeview last week and against Sumter. I like the big play potential out of Ridgeview more so than Lower Richland. And I'm going to say that again. I'm going to keep believing in it. Maybe I can talk it into existence. But I think Ridgeview, I like them in this game as well.
Yeah, a couple more comments here. Adrian says Louisville has had running clock in the fourth quarter both games so far. Brown says, what's up, guys? Hey, how you doing around? Big win for Crestwood last week.
Yeah.
Chad says, we'll find out if Fort D can hang with Grayson on Saturday. Yeah, that's one of the 3 South Carolina teams playing in that Cam Newton Classic down there Saturday in Georgia. That'll be a fun thing to follow as well, John. Our third game here, one that I'm really thinking about maybe going to, not sure yet, a 1A, 2A matchup. Bamberg-Ehrhardt traveling over to Barnwell. Both squads 2-0. Bamberg had a little bit of a scare last week against Denmark-Olar. They won 36-20. That game was very close for a while. They were kind of in a danger zone, it felt like. Barnwell played for the second week in a row on a Thursday. Won again 55-7 over Blackville Hilda. John, can the Raiders hang with what the Warriors are going to do offensively?
Oh, certainly. They can certainly hang with them. I think this is going to be quite a ball game this weekend. And I tell you what, I really like Barnwell. I think Barnwell is really good. Of course, they come in this game with 2A team against 1A Bamberg-Ehrhardt. I like Barnwell in this game.
Yeah.
And Barnwell has been really on fire.
Yes.
Bamberg-Ehrhardt a little bit last week. You don't expect them to give up 20 points, that stellar defense they have. They better not do that this Friday. They do that this Friday, the War Horses are going to have a day. I like Barnwell in this game, though. I think Barnwell, they're ranked maybe 6th, I think. Let's see here. I think they're ranked 6th in 2A is Barnwell. Or 4th in 2A. They're really good.
Yeah.
They're as good as anybody in 2A. I like Barnwell in this game a little bit. Nothing against Bamberg-Ehrhardt.
Yeah.
I think Barnwell is just that good.
Yeah, this is the War Horses' first real test. They played, Williston and Blackfield, 2 not great teams this year. But the offense, like they showed up. I think Tyler Smith's averaging about 200 yards in a game, 200 yards a game on the ground. Already got 8 rushing touchdowns there. Clay Pender has 3 touchdowns. The quarterback Cam Austin, replacing Sanford, hasn't had to do a whole lot yet. I think this game might be when he has to. I've heard from folks that he's got a good arm. He also can run a little bit, so maybe this is the game where he kind of breaks out with his feet some. So it'll be fun to see. Maurice Odom has been really good on defense for those guys there. Bamberg led by Nick Fulkin and Marion Buckman at running back. Young quarterback Chancellor Crosby, kind of finding his way, figuring out if he can, what he wants to be, maybe give him some more balanced attack there. Defensive front 7, Bamberg, I feel like, is always known for defense, especially that linebacker core there. Not quite as good as last year, I feel like, but still very formidable. I think this is a close ball game, but I think Barnwell just has a little too much firepower. I mean, you've got to you say, hey, we got to take away, the best player, whether that's Pender, Smith, whatever. But the other one still has enough firepower to carry your team either way. So I just don't know if you can stop both those guys in the ball game.
It's going to be very tough to stop both. You got to outscore them, I think. Mm-hmm. To beat Barnwell, you got to outscore them. And that's not necessarily Bamberg's game.
Yep.
Bamberg wants to beat you up. They say a good offense is a really good defense, right? And and that's kind of how Bamberg plays. I think Barnwell, again, like, a little bit too much in this game. I'll tell you what, we might be saying that for a lot of games that Barnwell has this year.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Smith and Pender out there against a better opponent this week. I think the Warhorses will get it done. A couple comments here. Ryan says this week Richie's breakout game. He's with you there on that.
Yeah, let's go, Ryan.
Derek says Lakeview has homecoming this week, so they should be okay.
Oh, wow.
They should. It's kind of early for homecoming, I feel like. But that's how it goes sometimes. Patrick says, what have they been saying all week, Medium Barnwell? Yeah, that Facebook group gets kind of wild over there, Big Bamberg and whatnot. But yeah, that'll be a heck of a ball game, and I like Barnwell playing at home too. WW Carter Field, that's always a good place for those guys to play. Tough spot for opponents to go to. So I like the Warhorses in that one. John, our fourth Kona game of the week here. South Aiken at Gilbert. South Aiken coming off an absolute shootout, losing 63-56 to Lexington. Actually had the lead for a couple score lead there and lost it.
Yeah.
These guys are putting up crazy. Last week we had Javon Edwards, one of the running backs, as our player of the week, 230 plus, whatever it was. This previous week, quarterback Terrence Smith rushed for, I think I've seen two different numbers. I saw 416 and also saw 391. So whichever one, it's a big number, and 6 touchdowns, and they lost the game, John. They're scoring a ton, but they're giving up a ton. Then Gilbert, 49-14 victory over Bedford-Leesville. They had 3 guys run the ball well: Elias Graham Woodbury, Jordan Allen Hendricks, and Chance Suggs, the quarterback there. I like Gilbert a lot. I just don't think they can keep up with South Aiken. I think they don't have that kind of firepower, I feel like.
Yeah, that backfield for South Aiken, it's going to be hard to control. I think I feel very similar with this game as I do Barnwell Bamberg-Ehrhardt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any problems on the other side of the football for Gilbert.
Yeah.
I think they have a really, really good team in 3A. I just think they got more on their plate than they can handle in the South Aiken game. But South Aiken, gosh, if they did what they did in the second half against Lexington, they're going to be in trouble. If they do that the whole game, they're going to be in trouble against Gilbert. Gilbert's team, I don't think they're coming intimidated. They are the smaller school, but they're good. They know they're good.
Yeah. One of our players of the week was John Norris, ran for 328, 5 touchdowns for Lexington last week against South Aiken. I just mentioned how Gilbert has 3 guys that can run the ball. They've got a chance for sure, but I think if you're Gilbert, you don't want to get in a back and forth type match. Like you'd rather it be in the 20s. Like if you get into the 40s and 50s, you're in trouble probably.
Yeah.
But I do think Gilbert has a chance here, and I'll say this, John. Gilbert is a very tough place to play. Coach Leapart does a great job of that environment down there. Gilbert's a tough place to get a win. It's things tend to go their way. Let's say when you play down there, when you play the Indians at Gilbert. So that's going in favor. But I think South Aiken a little too much firepower this week.
I think we're going to see a pretty close game, though. I think we're going to see a pretty close and hopefully a very well played, exciting game too. Because this could be, they can light it up too.
Yeah.
And that's the kiss of death.
Don't let us say that.
Get ready for a defensive showdown Friday. But the talent out there, it could get pretty high scoring.
For sure. Our 5th Kona game of the week here, John. Another 1A, 2A matchup. 2 this week. How about that? Southside Christian traveling over to Abbeville. Southside Christian, when's the last time we could say this, John? 0-2. They hadn't lost a game since the playoffs in 2019 when they were in 2A. They've lost back-to-back games now. I will say they have scheduled very toughly. They played very, very tough out-of-state opponents there, losing last week 52-28 to Charlotte Christian. Abbeville, we saw them firsthand last week, losing 51-44 to Powdersville. That team can play. They can score a lot. The defense worries me. And you got to worry about their health a little bit, too. Obviously, Antonio Harrison's still out at running back. But quarterback Zay Rayford will be a game-time decision as well.
Okay.
Where are you leaning here from the Sabres and the Panthers?
I'm not familiar with the out-of-state opponents that Southside played in the first 2 games. They played Commerce and Charlotte Christian last week. I'm not sure how those teams compare to what Abbeville's got. But we saw Abbeville firsthand last Friday, and they are good.
Yes.
Even wounded, they are very, very good. Rayford, certainly the number 1 option at quarterback. But Jay Hill.
Yep.
Jay Hill came in the fourth quarter of that game, and he was super impressive.
3 touchdown passes.
Super impressive. And that was late in the third quarter he came in. I think Abbeville wins this game. I think they get a little bit of, I'm not going to say revenge, but get that kind of bad taste out of their mouth from last week, a game that, they probably go, gosh, we had a chance. And they had some chances. They had some chances to beat a really, really good 3A team in Powdersville. I think Abbeville wins this game. But gosh, Southside Christian are they really going to go 0-3?
I know. Yeah.
That's hard to believe.
I guess the good thing, in the state is that these non-region games don't count, so that it doesn't really matter if you go 0-3. But obviously, you don't want to see that if you're a Sabre fan for sure. I think Falcon said this a couple times already tonight. There's another game that could be a shootout. Southside Christian, they've given up a lot of points the first couple games here. I think 53 last week. Abbeville also giving up a lot of points. The defense did not look great last week. I feel like against Hartsville. So this is another that could get into the 30s and 40s, maybe if we see some explosive plays from those guys. And I don't know. I think I'm going to lean Southside Christian. I like the Martin kid at quarterback a lot, especially if Rayford's out. Jay Hill, I feel like he may come down off the mountain a little bit this week. But I think I'm going to go with Southside Christian in a close one here Friday night.
Okay, I feel pretty confident.
Yeah.
In my Abbeville pick.
That'll be a tough place to play. A-Town is a great environment. If you guys haven't been, definitely go check that out. That'll be a good ball game there for sure. A couple more comments. Derek they said Southside Christian 0-2. Yeah, that's a surprise for sure. You don't see that very often. We haven't seen it here in several years.
Says Southside finished 7-3. You're probably right, Darius. I agree with that.
Probably right about that.
I think they got 0-3. Probably we realized 7 in a row.
Yeah. All right, in our SCSA game looked by Kona here, John. Not a typical one we see here a lot.
Not at all.
Five-time defending state champion, the Hammond Skyhawks, traveling to the reservation to take on the Gaffney Indians, the defending 5A state champs. Hammond lost first week big to Prince Avenue out of, I think it's, is it Georgia? Or
I believe they are. It's Georgia. I want to say it is in that Athens area. Let's see if we can.
Lost week 0 to Prince Ave. Came back and beat Florence Christian 49-0 last week. Gaffney lost 2 weeks ago to South Point. We know about that. In Rock Hill in that game to South Point. Got canceled last week. Mid first quarter, up 7-6 on Union. Lightning issues. Game got canceled there. So they haven't really played a full game in 2 weeks, I guess. Hammond and Gaffney, John. I mean, obviously everybody thinks SCSA, public school, a 5A school. SCSA, no chance. What do you think about this ball game?
I guess they have a chance.
Yeah, I don't know what to think.
They're playing the game, but I think once the game starts, they're going to have very, very little chance. I think Gaffney, they're only, as you said, they were just up 7-6 in that game. Union scored first. Mm-hmm. I know some of the Gaffney fans out here are a little sweaty palms, a little nervous about what may unfold this season. I'm not that concerned about Gaffney. I think they're going to be okay. I think the Indians are going to be fine. Maybe not as good as we thought they were going to be this year, but I think this is a chance for them to come back out, flex a little bit, get some confidence back in themselves, get some confidence back into the program. I think Gaffney wins pretty big. Yeah.
Jarrell says Prince Ave is in Athens, so good to know there. A couple things on Hammond here. They do return 9 guys who started the game on offense last year.
Very nice.
Obviously, they're replacing, though, the big running back, Hayper Stokes, now at Michigan, the big-time player. But the quarterback, Dylan Richland's back. Running back, Aiken Zader replaces Stokes. 3 wide receivers, Bennett, Epps, and Tyler are really good. Defense led by Brandon and Atchison at the linebacker spot. What worries me is the size of the line. They're not going to have as big of guys as Gaffney is on defensive or offensive lines there. I think that Gaffney may start leaning on them a little bit. We talk about Gaffney every week. Everybody knows the names there now. Loftus, Jeffries, who I guess he's still out technically. Little John, Johnson, all those guys that people know around the state because they're big-time players. That Gaffney O-line probably doesn't get talked about it enough.
That's very true. That is a very good point.
A big-time left tackle, a sophomore that's played a lot this year and has done a really good job there. Defensive line, too. Clay Putnam, Nathan Johnson kind of playing that hybrid linebacker defensive line spot there. Does a really good job. I think Gaffney just has a little too much size up front for Hammond. I think they win this game. I think they kind of lean on them in the second half, and it might get to be a 2, 3, 4 score game here late.
And let's not sell this part short either. Again, we're talking about a private school.
Yeah.
I know they're a big private school, but they're going to the reservation.
Yeah.
That's different.
New atmosphere.
That is
new atmosphere.
Different. Totally different atmosphere. That is going to be a factor.
Yeah.
And Gaffney fans, I know they know it. I don't have to tell them this, but that can get up on them quick, especially if Gaffney can jump out don't let Hammond have success early.
Yeah.
I know that's easier said than done. But if Gaffney can get up, get a lead early, have the crowd into it, that can really, I think, shake up Hammond a little bit.
Yeah, a couple comments here. Patrick says hard to call. They got 7 sophomores on defense for Gaffney. That's kind of a surprise there, and like I mentioned, with Hammond having the experience on offense, maybe that does flip the offense in their favor a little bit, because they've got some experience on that side of the ball. But I think, just like I said, I think the line play is going to be too much. I got a prediction here from John. Says Gaffney 34, Hammond 24. That would be I'd
be impressed with
that would
Hammond,
be too bad there.
What it turns out to be.
I do have to say this before we get off this one here, John. Hammond, the Skyhawks, maybe one of the best nicknames in South Carolina.
That is really good.
The Skyhawks is a good name. I mean, objectively, great name for your team.
And I think, I think Hanna, are they also?
I think they're just the Hawks, I believe, actually.
Are they?
I think they're just the Hawks, but
they are the Hawks.
I think we're both leaning Gaffney here. I would be very surprised if Hammond wins this game. If they keep it within 14 points, I think that's considered a successful trip for those guys, really.
I'd say 2 or 3 scores to be successful. If it's 42-21, I don't think that's a bad showing either.
Yeah. Patrick said did change things on defense this week. So, okay. Interesting to see. I know because they didn't look great. I heard last week in the one drive against Union. So, Gaffney making some changes. I'm sure Coach Jones will get those guys figured out for sure.
And those 10th graders are going to get better and better and better.
Yep.
I'm sure playing at the varsity level for the first time, it's a little nerve-wracking. Hey, the reservation can be intimidating even when you're wearing the black and gold.
Yes.
So, especially your first game. So I get that. They're going to get better and better. And at the end of the day, I think in large part, talent takes over.
Yeah.
Talent wins.
Yeah. Well, John, that's our last Kona game of the week here. I'll give a couple shout outs here while you pull up some of the statewide scores. Do you want to start maybe in the middle of this week? I know we started 1A, week 0, 5A. Let's see. What do you think about maybe starting in 3A and then go around that way?
Let's do that.
Quick shout out here to our preview show sponsor, Security Advantage Federal Credit Union. They have a clear purpose to improve the financial lives of their members. They offer smart financial solutions. Join today at securityadvantagefsu.com. Win a Banking Thrive Life member NCUA. Also, our friends at the Georgia Agency, serving the insurance agency South Carolina over 35 years. Full line insurance agency, contract employee benefits, and health insurance office in Mullins and Merle's Inlet. But they will help you all across the state. TheGeorgiaAgency.net. Our Game of the Week sponsor, Kona, offers the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. Kona.care. That's Kona.care. And then our Stock Up, Stock Down sponsor, Founders Federal Credit Union. See how a Founders membership can elevate your financial game. Train your financial skills with a wide array of financial tools and services. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com. That's RelaxJoinFounders.com. John, I read that really fast. I hope everybody heard it. If you didn't, we'll
it was very clean.
We'll see.
Very clean and clear.
Well, John, let's get rolling here. Do you want to start with side on 3A here?
Yeah, let's do 3A first.
Let's do 3A first. I love it.
We'll start with Crestwood at Andrew Jackson.
Went off a big win there for Crestwood. Knocked off Gray. Big comeback win there. Andrew Jackson, and also a nice win last week. No, sorry, they lost Fairfield Central.
Played them close.
They did. That'll be a fun ball game down there.
That'll be a good game. Calhoun County will be at Battery Creek. Hilton Head will be going to Beaufort. That could be a pretty good game.
Yep.
Lawrence will be at Belton Honeypath. Spartanburg at Broome. One of the games of the week, Hartsville at Camden. Berea will be at Carolina. Boiling Springs will go to Chapman. Walhalla will be at Chesney. Fountain Inn will be going to Crescent. Now here's a game where we're going to have a winner. Lugoff Elgin will go to Darlington. Two teams that are not very good. One of them's going to have to win.
I think you got to lean the LE squad there, right?
Yeah, I've got the Demons.
Darlington's very bad.
Yeah. Demons might be a 3-score favorite in this one. I think they'll get the first W of the season. Maybe they're only one. Ware Shoals will be at Emerald. Chester will be at Fairfield Central. That'll be a fun game, I think.
It is. Fairfield Central's light up the scoreboard. Nice comeback win last week over Andrew Jackson there. Quarterback, the McMillan kids playing really well. I think they beat Chester,
I think they do, too. Yeah. I think Chester will be there. They'll be in the conversation when we talk about playoffs down the road. They'll be in there. But I really like what we're seeing out of Griffin.
I do, too.
Here early on. Now, that'd be a big win for them, too.
Yeah.
Then we got South Aiken, as we talked about, going to Gilbert. Big game there. Blue Ridge will be at Greer. Lake City will be at King Street.
It'll be a fun one. King Street, not playing last week. They're back now. Lake City tough loss last week. That'll be fun to see how that one goes.
That'll be a really good game. Really good game. I know the kids at Kingshire will be excited to get to play after having to sit out last week. Dreer will be at Lakewood. Talk about another one of the games of the week. Ridgeview at Lower Richland. A big game there for the outskirts of Columbia.
Yeah, if you guys missed that, when we get done, go check it out at the beginning of the show here. We kind of went through our games of the week, so go check that out later on.
Should be a low, maybe I can talk this one to be a high-scoring game. I don't think it'll be a low-scoring game again. East Clarendon will be at Manning. Powdersville will play at Malden.
That's a fun one there. Powdersville scheduling a big 5A school with a 3A team there. We saw what they could do last week offensively. They looked really good with Thomas Williams, Eli Hudgens, and that crew there. Malden, nice victory over Bowling Springs last week on the road. Yep. Malden playing at home for Freeman Fields, an interesting place to play there. I think Powdersville can pull it off, but Malden, if they win this game, that really should be something.
I think so too. I think Powdersville is going to win. I think they should win, in all honesty. We'll see. It's going to be a tough game. It's hard to predict 3A going to 5A.
Yeah.
Hard. Especially this early in the season. We know Powdersville is pretty good. Defense, got to shore things up a little bit. But really not sure about Malden. Mm-hmm. Hard to tell. This would be a good barometer game for the Mavericks.
Yep, for sure.
See where they're at. Here's a good one. Clinton will be at Newberry. I think the Red Devils will win this one, but cool game seeing Clinton and Newberry.
Yeah. Newberry off last week already had a bye week, kind of an odd thing there. The 0-1. Coach Sheedy looking for his first win. I don't think he gets it this week. I think Clinton is there lining up the scoreboard. I think they had three guys go over 100 yards last week, including a 99-yard touchdown run. Defense is shutting teams down. They look really good in 3A right now.
3A, this is such an exciting class. You talk about Clinton, how good they are. You talk about Powdersville, how good they are. Camden, how good they are. Daniel. I mean, I don't know who you pick.
Yeah. 3A is going to be fun when the playoffs come.
Baptist Hill will be at North Charleston. Brooklyn Casey will be at Northwestern.
That's an interesting matchup there, too. BC, nice win last week over Airport. Northwestern continued to roll. Played a little bit closer at Cloven than I thought it was going to be there. I don't know if BC has the firepower to win this one. Northwestern looks really strong. That's an interesting matchup there up in Rock Hill this week.
Yeah, I hope BC can have a good showing, but after seeing them just not able to do anything in the second half against Burns, I find it hard to believe they're going to have much more success against Northwestern. Because I think Northwestern, they are the real deal.
Yeah.
They are very sharp, well coached. They play the game the right way. That's going to be a tough one for BC.
Yes. Yeah.
But good for BC bouncing back last week and getting the win over Airport. Well, South Florence at Orangeburg-Wilkinson. Travelers Rest will be at Palmetto.
Might get the first win for the Devil Dogs there.
Boy, they need to get last week cleared from their mind completely. We've got Georgetown at Philip Simmons. Southside High School will be at Pickens. Marlborough County, big win for them over Sherrill last week. They will play Scotland out of North Carolina.
Yeah, one of our teams of the week there. They look really good against Sherrill. A Sherrill team that we thought could, if not win, at least keep it very close. They blew those guys out.
Yeah.
The Bulldogs look good, and I hope they're good. I hope they're legit. That's a fun program when they're fun.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with Sherrill.
No.
We'll find out. Maybe they're overrated, but I don't think so. I think that's just a flat out really good win for the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
We'll see Wren at Seneca. Loris, your team.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and Loris, so we'll do both of them.
Loris will be at South Columbus in North Carolina.
Loris continues to impress, man.
Yeah.
Another win over a 5A team last week. Norfolk Beach is not great, but still they beat them, which is a solid win there. Duke Bellamy is a really good player. The Huff kid, a quarterback's a really good player. I'm telling you, Loris in 3A is going to make some people think later on in the year for sure. Back to that Wren Seneca game. Seneca, 2-0 for Seneca. You don't see that a whole lot. Wren, we don't know a whole lot about them still because they had some late departures and whatnot. They've got the talent there. This would be a good barometer for Seneca, I feel like. If they win this game, okay, maybe Seneca's for real. People are still kind of doubting them right now, even though they're 2-0.
Yeah, they are 2-0, but they haven't had a game against a team like Wren yet.
Yeah.
So I think this will be a test for them. And I'm not too sure what to think. I think Wren probably the better team here.
Yeah.
But Seneca certainly has got a chance, especially playing at home. That's got to help.
Yep.
That'll be a fun one to watch. York will be at Union. I think Union will be very excited to play this game, given how well they played in the first 10 minutes or so that they got against Gaffney last week. Waccamaw will host Ashley out of North Carolina. Dillon will be at Wilson.
One of our pickup games here. Wilson 2-0 as well. They beat two lower class. They beat 3A Ainer and 2A Marion. But still, two nice wins there. Dillon beat the brakes off Lamar last week, obviously. That'll be a fun matchup to see if Wilson is for real or not.
I think Wilson wins the game.
Really? Over Dillon?
I think so. I think they do.
Okay,
But,
that surprises me.
It's going to be. I was not ready for Dillon to dominate Lamar like they did.
Yeah.
And they took their foot off the gas early in that game.
Yep.
That'll be a good one. That'll be good. It's in Wilson too. I think that's gonna be a really good one. And if Wilson does win that game, that's big time for those guys.
Yes.
Big time. And then our last game will be JL Man at Woodruff. It's gonna be a tough game for Woodruff. They got a good defense though.
Yep.
That helps. Man struggled a little bit in the Riverside game last week.
I think they bounced back offensively this week, I feel like. But we'll
Yeah, I like Man in this game too, but we'll see if that Woodruff defense can take that tape from last Friday and replicate it.
For sure. Do you want to go to 4A or 2A next? You tell me.
Let's do 2A.
All right, let's a couple comments here. John says Burns has 40 seniors. Yep, we'll get more into that Burns-Greenville game here in a minute. We'll go to 4A and 5A. Donald says go Hillcrest. Brian says he hears Andrew Jackson has a nice field. Jarrell says Central Griffins. Yes, they're playing really good there. Jimmy says Burns is the best team in the state.
Okay.
A lot of prediction there. We'll talk more about those guys here in a minute. Ask us who the best team in 5A is. We'll get to that here in 5A as well. We got Stallions Mavericks 803 versus 704. Yep. That South Point game playing a team out of they're playing Mallard Creek this week. That's right.
That's
Burns. We got a score prediction. Burns 56, Greenville 9.
Oof.
I will say I'd be surprised if it's that lopsided for sure.
That would be. I don't think that's going to be the case.
We shall see.
A little closer than that.
We shall see. We got a couple more comments here. Wilson will run that no huddle up tempo. That'll be funny. And then Dillon beat the brakes off Lamar. Yes, they did, Jarrell. Yes, they did. John, let's look now at 2A and kind of roll through that.
And speaking of AJ going out there, great place to watch a game. That is a cool place to go. Now, I'll tell you what, eat before you get there unless you plan on eating a dog at the stadium because there is nothing around Andrew Jackson High School. But that is a cool place to go for a game. Enjoy it. I'm glad to hear you're going up there. Rolling into the 2A slate here. As we talked about one of our games of the week, Southside Christian going down to A-Town playing Abbeville. I think that's going to be a really fun game. I like Abbeville in that game, though. Burke will be at Academic Magnet. Strom Thurmond will go to Aiken. Andrew Jackson hosting Crestwood. That would be a fun game, too. Barnwell hosting Bamberg-Ehrhardt, another one of our games of the week.
Yeah, so if you guys missed our game of the week chat, beginning of the show, when the show's over, you can back and listen to it. We went through some of the biggest games here in the state and really gave them an in-depth breakdown.
Blacksburg will be hosting Cherryville High School out of North Carolina. I haven't heard of that school before. I don't know if that's a new one or not. Buford will be hosting Lee Central. Carvers Bay hosting Andrews. Hanna Pamplico at Sherrall. Waha will be going to Chesney. Liberty will be at Eastside. Columbia going to Edisto. Wade Hampton in the lower state will be at Estill. As we talked about, Fairfield Central hosting Chester. Mention that game again because that's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, I do want to circle back to that Sherrall-Hanna Pamplico game. That'll be a fun one too. I mean, Sherrall needs a bounce back here. Hanna Pamplico got a nice bounce back last week after losing week 0 to McBee. Hanna Pamplico is going to test you defensively for sure. So we'll see what Sherrall's got. They got 40 plus to Marlboro County last week. See that kind of short things up a little bit against the Raiders this week.
I think they bounce back. We've got on a Thursday night game, McCormick will be at Fox Creek. Green Sea Floyds will host Mullins. Richland Northeast at Keenan. Lake City at Kingstree. Again, that will be a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
Kingstree not playing last week, getting back on the field this week. St. Joseph's at Landrum. Louisville hosting Chesterfield. Chesterfield, I don't know much about them this year, but boy, they lit up the scoreboard last year.
They had some points. I think Louisville, I think at home, I'm going Louisville to continue that winning ways. I mean, they've looked so impressive in the first 2 weeks of the season here. I think they win again this week.
I think so, too. I'm right with you until they give us reason to not pick them. I like Louisville as well. Lucy Beckman will be hosting Bishop England. Marion Swamp Foxes hosting Central.
Yeah, I want to hit over two games in a row there. You know, Marion up 22-0 last week to Wilson in the first quarter. ended up losing that ball game. Kind of got gassed out a little bit against the 4A team. Offense can light it up. I think they beat Central. And Lucy Beckham, they're about to go 3-0, John. Like, these guys are playing some ball right now. Great to see how well they're doing here in their first official varsity season.
And I think this is great. I know there's different strategies for different schools, in the off season, who you schedule out of region. I love the play. And I'm not saying that Lucy Beckham's playing a bunch of nobodies.
Heck, they had one last week. A big school, yeah.
They're not. But the fact that they're winning ball games and getting confidence going for that new program and heading into region play.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm really excited to see that.
That's great to see.
You got Silver Bluff at Midland Valley. This game's got a little extra juice to it now.
Yeah.
Dunbar now at Midland Valley.
Yeah, I know he's not play. He didn't play last week. I don't think he's quite healthy, and I don't think he's quite back yet. But still, there's a little bit of tension there for sure. Midland Valley did get a nice win last week over Strong Thurman. Silver Bluff did not look great. They lost to Socastee again. These guys need a win, and I don't know if it comes this week or not.
I think they win this week, but boy, if they don't, that's gonna be some trouble down the bluff.
Mm-hmm.
We got Saluda will be at 96. Got some interesting news on Saluda coming up here later in the show. C.A. Johnson will be at North Central. Carolina Forest going to Oceanside.
A 5A team against a 2A team, and I think Oceanside's a clear favorite because of what we saw from Carolina Forest last week.
They are.
Oceanside goes toe-to-toe with South Florence, one of the best teams in the 4A, loses by a point. Carolina Forest gets blown out by Somerville, only scoring like 7 points, which really surprised me there. I think you got to lean the 2A team here at home against the 5A school.
Yeah, and I think it's...
How often can you say that?
And I think for Oceanside, it's almost a disservice saying the 2A team. It don't matter what classification those guys. They can play ball. Really good. And there's a handful of teams in the state I think you can say the same about. They are certainly one of them. Eau Claire will be at Pelion. Rich Spring Minetta hosting Batesburg-Leesville. We've talked about this a little bit. The Cam Newton Classic down in Atlanta. Gray will be participating in that. They will be playing South Atlanta, and that game will be on Saturday.
Yep.
Pretty cool there. So, actually, I'd say I'm getting crossed up on where the games are. Gray playing in Atlanta Saturday. Former great Casey Adams playing in Georgia State.
That's right.
They will be in Columbia.
That's right.
The Gamecocks later on that day. Cross will be at Timberland. Lake Marion will be at Wagner Sally. Ridgeland Hardyville will be at Whale Branch. Mid Carolina going to Whitmire.
A fun matchup there. Mid Carolina did not perform well last week. Whitmire's 2-0. I don't know if they got the firepower to beat Mid Carolina, but I'm going to pick them to do it. They're playing at home, John. You've seen the stadium. It's a great stadium. Wolverines are 2-0. I think they keep rolling.
I like it. Why not? And then Woodland will host Bluffton to round out the 2A slate.
Yeah. Which way you want to go next? Got a couple more comments here while you pull it up.
Let's go 1A.
Let's see. We've got Seth says, the way Southside's been playing, A-Town should get a win there. Bradley says, hope you guys are doing well. Look forward to our lives. Thank you, Bradley. Appreciate you tuning in. Adrian says, Chesterfield has not played a game yet. Yep, that's right. Daryl says, what about Denmark-Olar? We'll get to them here in a second. Let's see. John says, his top 5 ranking prediction is Dutch Fork, Dorman, Burns, South Point, and TL Hanna. Interesting to see there, John. Let's roll through 1A here, and then we'll get back up to some big boys after that.
We've got Calhoun County will be at Battery Creek. Andrews will be at Carver's Bay. Christ Church will be hosting Georgia School Holy Innocents. Colleton Prep will host Branchville. Denmark-Olar hosting St. John's.
Denmark-Olar, I had a question about that a minute ago from Daryl. I think they get a win this week. They look good against Bamberg. They gave Bamberg a scare last week for a little bit. I think they get a win this week over St. John's.
I think so too. They played like they did last Friday. I think so too. I like them in that one. Hopefully, they didn't gas themselves in that game last Friday and they're ready to go. Dixie, they will host Greenwood Christian. Mullins will be at Green Sea Floyd's. Hunter Kenner Tyler hosting Bethune-Bowman. Lakeview, homecoming. They will be inviting Hemingway into town for that
Hemingway has big problems. We mentioned their situation last week, and then they got blown out again. Lakeview's going to roll.
Hemingway might be seeing a couple homecomings this year.
Yeah.
Lamar will host Legion Collegiate. Landrum hosting St. Joseph's. Latta, undefeated, hasn't given them up a point yet. They'll be hosting McBee. I think they win that game too.
It'll be a good test there. McBee beat beat Hampton week 0, lost to Beaufort badly last week. I do think Ladd will win this game as well.
I think that'll be a fun one. North Charleston will be hosting Baptist Hill. Military Magnet will be at Palmetto Christian. Great Falls will be at Scotts Branch. Cowling Falls will be going to Spartanburg Christian. And that rounds out 1A.
Awesome. No more comments here, I think, since that one came out. No, I'm going to go 4 or 5A, John.
Let's go 5A.
5A. Let's do it. Let's roll through the big boys here.
Conway going to Ashley Ridge.
I do hit on Conway. Big win over Myrtle Beach last Saturday.
I was impressed.
Obviously, they're 5A, 4A. We get that, but usually Myrtle Beach dominates that rivalry, at least recently.
Lately, they have.
Myrtle Beach to be 0-2 now. Conway, big performance there for those guys. I was surprised when I saw that score come across. Conway, Ashley Ridge, Conway might get a win here as well.
I think so too. The thing that worries me though is we've said, wow, that Myrtle Beach score surprises us.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them were almost identical the wrong way from the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
Myrtle Beach might be in a rebuilding phase this season.
Good news that they did get the quarterback back last week. The Dunn kid did play, but they've got to figure some stuff out soon here.
Yeah, they got to figure out some stuff on defense.
Yeah.
I think that is priority number one for those guys. You got to figure out the defense. If you can't stop anybody, it's going to be tough to win. Somerville got some news on the Green Wave here coming up too.
They're about to win again this week against Berkeley, who's not good.
They will be at Berkeley. Should be able to keep the momentum rolling there. Blythewood will be hosting Westwood, a little Blythewood rivalry. I think this is going to be a really good game. Blythewood played Ridgeview very tough a couple weeks ago. Westwood, we think highly of them. They suffered a tough loss with the Spring Valley.
The Spring Valley, and then last week they lost to Lower Richland. So they're 0-2. Not looking great so far. Should be a fun, kind of cross town. You can't even really say town, I guess, but just cross the street rivalry there.
Yeah, pretty much. Spartanburg will be at Broome.
A team 0-2 that's much better than their record. They get a win this week. Spartanburg.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think Broome might be 0-2 as well.
No, Spartanburg gets a win this week.
This game was brought up earlier. Burns hosting, or actually Burns will be going to Greenville,
yes,
right?
Burns is going to Greenville. That's I see it's wrong there.
Stadium.
That's an interesting matchup. Burns has had 2 dominating wins over 3A teams, both at home over Chapman and Brooklyn Casey. Greenville 0-2, but they've played the likes of 2 5A schools, Bowling Springs and TL Hanna. This would be a pretty. Yes, Dorman and TL Hanna. You're right. Sorry, TL Hanna played Bowling Springs first week. Yeah. This will be a fun matchup here. We know what Burns has on offense. So much firepower. Kai Cook, Camarius Bomar, Livingston, Colby Shaw, Armani Weaver, yada, yada, yada. Greenville has talent too. Mazio Bennett, Tyler Brown, Jaden Pepper, the Sherman kid, quarterback Jordan Sink. This could be another kind of high-scoring game. The Burns defense really stepped up in the second half and really shut down both BC and Chapman, held up to 7 points. I think Greenville certainly scores more than 7, but I don't know if they can quite score enough to beat Burns.
I don't think they win this game, but I do think this is a game.
Yeah,
I think this is, maybe a 7 to 10 point game. Burns is going to have to earn this one. And I saw the comment earlier. Burns best team in the state. Maybe we ask Greenville after the game Friday.
Yeah.
They will have played Norman, TL Hanna, and Burns right out the gate. 3 very, very good teams in 5A. It would actually be interesting, and I know Coach Porter, nobody like Greenville side is going to say, hey, these guys are better than these guys. Right. But it'll be interesting to see how that game goes and kind of compare it on what Greenville has done first 2 games.
Looking at those first 2 weeks, Greenville really got the ball ran all over him a little bit by TL Hanna, because what TL Hanna does, of course. And then Dorman too, Demarius Foster over 300 yards there in week 0. Burns has not ran it a ton because they've really kind of thrown the ball around a little bit. Interesting to see if they try to get kind of the Brooks kid, and if they try to get Livingston a little more involved on the ground this week in that ball game. But I think Burns wins. I think it's a close one.
I think so too. And we saw Shaw run the ball with some pretty good effectiveness in that Brooklyn Casey game. When he's got to take and run. Tall kid, long stride. He's one of those players. You look at him running, you go, he doesn't look that fast, but nobody's catching him.
Chewing up yardage.
Taking 3 yards a step. Moving on, we've got West Ashley will be at Cane Bay.
A good team so far. West Ashley's been surprising 2-0 so far.
Yeah, I think they won this one too. Mm-hmm. Nation 4 will be at Catawba Ridge. Spring Valley will go to Chapin. Chapman will be hosting Boiling Springs.
Coach Real maybe gets his first win this week. We'll see. I don't know. Two teams that have not played great so far.
Yeah,
so we'll see what happens.
I like Boiling Springs by a little bit in this one. Got Dutch Fork playing a tough Creekside program out in the state of Georgia.
And if you guys didn't follow last week, in that Spartanburg game, they lost quarterback Liam Appler. Really had to go run. Jarvis Green, one of our players of the week, goes over 300 yards there, running the ball. I don't know what the plan is. I think Appler's out again this week. I don't know if they've got a backup they feel confident throwing it around with. So interesting to see how they kind of play that strategy on offense for Dutch Fork this week.
Yeah, I tell you what, Coach Johnson's going to have his work cut out for him this week, game playing, because you're not going to be able to do – I don't think you can just say, hey, Jarvis, run this thing 35 times.
Yeah.
And, be
especially in a non-region game, especially. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't want to, you got to think about the kid's future, too.
Yeah.
You don't want to run him out of gas in your third game of the season, especially, we mentioned that, we joke about it. Coach Knott's very cognizant of that, given the toll that it took on his team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're out of region schedule that they played last year, traveling a good bit. That kind of stuff catches up to you at the end of the season. So he's got to be mindful of that. I know they wanted to win that game against Spartanburg last week. That was a big-time game in the state. Very interesting to see what Dutch Fork comes out with an offensive game plan on Friday against Creekside. Saturday, right. I tell you what, I know Dutch Fork getting this kind of program, but maybe you just say, hey, this game is what it is. We're going to get our backups ready. We're going to get our backup quarterback ready. We're going to make them throw the ball. It's going to be a learning experience. But I don't know. You don't see a Dutch Fork.
It's an interesting matchup, yeah.
That's going to be a really fun game to follow or watch. You might be able to find that one on TV somewhere. Greenwood will be at Dorman.
Greenwood 0-2, played AC Flora in Sandy Creek last week. Dorman 2-0, two nice wins at North Augusta, and obviously Greenwood week 0 there. I think Dorman continues to kind of roll there. I think Greenwood, they're going to be fine. They just played some really tough competition so far. Yeah, for Greenwood, shore things up. Have this as good practice. Hey, maybe you get some turnovers. Who knows? But I think Dorman wants this one going away. Fort Dorchester, also playing on Saturday. They will be playing a very storied program, Grayson High School, out of the state of Georgia. A lot of Grayson athletes have played on Saturdays at the collegiate level. So that'll be a big game for Fort Dorchester and see what they got in that one. Fort D, they beat Beaufort last week, a nice win. I think it was 21-6. Really probably wasn't that close, but they had a lot of kind of early season mistakes, turnovers, penalties, stuff like that. You can't have that if you're going to beat Grayson. You can't have that. I love the quarterback, Zoltan Osborne, really good player. Obviously, Shaw, all those guys they got down there are big-time players. But that'll be a fun matchup. I don't know if they have quite enough firepower for Grayson. We'll see. But it'll be fun to see Zoltan Osborne in a big-time environment like that.
Yeah. See, he's got to put that game on his shoulders a little bit. That'll be fun. That'll be fun to watch. That'll be fun for both sides, too. That'll be a cool game.
Yeah.
Hillcrest, talked about the Rams a little bit. Hillcrest, huge game last week. Lighting up the scoreboard. They'll host Clover, a team that might have a pretty good defense.
Yeah, we'll see. They didn't, they played close against Northwestern last week. They really did. I still think the Rams, too much firepower at home. We mentioned Avery McFadden, one of our players of the week. Record-setting performance at receiving yard. I think 241 last week, 3 touchdowns. Bennett Judy set the record for passing yards in a game, 450-something, whatever it was.
56, I want to say.
Yeah, threw plenty of touchdowns there. So much firepower, Jalen Neal, Logan Coldren, Thomas Stanley. The defense, John,
they're scoring on defense.
Yeah, the defense they're getting, especially these touchdowns this week. B.J. Jones has had a touchdown in both games, one on a return, on a kickoff, and one on a pick return. Defense has allowed 7 to Greer last week, and then week 0 they only allowed a few as well, maybe 7 to Lawrence.
I think so, 7. Yeah.
Defense is playing very well as well for those Rams there. That program is tough. I think they roll again Friday night.
I would like to see this game be a little bit closer. I don't think they just absolutely blow out Clover like their first 2 opponents, but I do think they, I think they're going to be comfortable come fourth quarter. Yeah. We'll have Stratford will be at Lexington. Lexington with the big win last week against South Aiken. I think they win that game as well. Powdersville at Mullins, we talked about a little bit. 3A at 5A matchup. Very good Powdersville team, very good offense there for Powdersville. That will be an interesting matchup. St. James will be at Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach needs a win.
in the worst kind of way. I don't know what to think about Myrtle Beach. I don't know. At this point, I'm almost like, gosh, I got to see them win to believe it.
I'm going to keep picking them because I think I've got too much talent, but
I am too.
I hope they prove me right at some point.
I am too. Irmo will be at River Bluff. Lancaster will be at Rock Hill.
Those are two, Irmo River Bluff. Fun game there. You know, an undefeated 4A team, Irmo, undefeated 5A team, River Bluff there. The Brand kid, coach's son, of course, for Irmo is playing really well. Cooper Johnson, running back, River Bluff, is playing really well as well. I think River Bluff a little too much firepower there. That could be a fun ball game to be at.
I think that's going to be a really, really close game. I'm leaning River Bluff a little bit, but Irmo's got a chance in this game. They've got a really, really good chance in this game.
Yeah.
Lancaster will be at Rock Hill.
Yeah, I heard Rock Hill actually canceled their program, so they might not show up
Well,
this week.
good. Strike it off the list. Wando will be at RB Stall. RB Stall, that's a program Rock Hill can play. That'll be a good game for them to play. Goose Creek will be at Sumter. Westside will be going to TL Hanna. West Florence hosting Socastee. Colleton County will be going to White Knoll.
The White Knoll team, I have no idea what to make of now. They blew out Spring Valley. Shocked. Maybe they're the real deal.
They might be. I want to pick them. I'll pick them this week.
Yeah.
Let's roll with them. I think it's the Wolves, Timberwolves.
Yes, you're correct.
Riverside will be at Woodmont, and that rounds out the 5A schedule for Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, a couple more comments here. John says Chris Foster, Keyshawn Good are national at Burns DL. They are very good. He also says Creekside 57 does 4-24. Bradley Ramsey talked about Sugar Jeffries being out until at least region play with surgery on his finger. Yeah, hopefully he'll get back soon there. John also predicts Dorchester to beat Grace 30-29.
Wow.
Donald Wilson says Avery McFadden, most electric player in the state, and 8 of 11 back on defense. Yeah, Avery is really fun to watch. If you guys haven't seen him, he's big in the return game and on the offensive game side of the ball there. Jarrell says Rock Hill does get TR on the schedule. That might be a good one for the Devil Dogs.
TR be good. Lugoff, Elgin, maybe they'll play it.
Darlington, line them up.
That's a good one too.
Let's look at some 4A stuff here, John.
All right, 4A slate. Strom Thurman will be at Aiken. Airport will be hosting Butler out of Georgia. Lawrence will be at Belton Honeypath.
Lawrence needs a win, but BHP has played very tough. Nice win last week over Westside.
Yeah, BHP, I think, on the rise.
Stock up.
One of our games of the week, maybe the game in the state. Camden hosting Hartsville.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina will be hosting Berea. Darlington hosting Lugoff Elgin. Eastside will be hosting Liberty. Gilbert hosting South Aiken. Also one of the games of the week.
Game.
That'll be a fun game. First Baptist will be at James Island. Ridgeview, one of our games of the week, going to Lower Richland. Silver Bluff at Midland Valley. Lakeside from the state of Georgia will be playing North Augusta. That game in North Augusta.
North Augusta 0-2. They need a win.
Yes, they do. And I may be thinking of Creekside, but I feel like I've heard of this Lakeside program from Georgia as well. Who knows? We'll see. We'll find out Friday night with the scoreboard. Brooklyn Casey will be heading to Northwestern, as we mentioned before. Interesting matchup there. I think the Trojans take care of business, though. Indiana will be going up to North Carolina to play Palisades. Mallard Creek coming into Rock Hill. They'll be playing at South Point. That's an interesting game. Still like South Point.
Yeah, I think Mallard Creek is not really the team we think of from Mallard Creek from like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
They're a little bit down from that. And South Point is, like I said last week, they're legit. They're the real deal. I think they roll again this Friday.
I think so too. York will be at Union. Wade Hampton will be hosting Easley.
Wade Hampton, do you have to say this? Winners last week, first time in several seasons. I think they were 0-25 until that win. Big win for the Generals there. They might beat Easley too. We'll see.
And they won convincingly.
Yeah.
Convincing. I really like their chances. If they can play like they did last week, I really like their chances. We've got let's see. North Myrtle Beach will be going to West Brunswick. That's a school out of North Carolina. And as we mentioned, also Dillon going to Wilson. I'm picking Wilson in this game.
Interesting.
We'll see. We'll see. Dylan might go on that, but I'm going to pick Wilson. Bluffton will be at Woodland, and Riverside will be going to Woodmont.
I think Riverside bounces back. They get the offense going this week. Had a tough week last week at Shell, man. I think they get it figured out this week here. Couple Skeeza games here I want to mention. Poundwood Prep at Ben Lippin. Ben Lippin 2-0. Beat Heathwood Hall first time in 5 years. They've already doubled last season's win total. They won 1 game last year. Already won 2 this year. First game of Skeeza for this squad, John. Camden Military Academy at Porterville. Their first Skeeza game there for Camden Military. We got Trinity Collegiate traveling to Cardinal Newman. Corey Helms looking for his first win. Big game here, kind of a crosstown game here. Wilson Hall at Lawrence Manning. Those Sumter area schools getting after it. We got Florence Christian at Williams. Another good one there. And the PD Academy traveling down to Carolina. The Eagles had a big win over Cardinal Newman last week. Scored late to win that game. A 48-42 shootout. Quarterback Hudson Spivey is legit. A really big-time play. I think the Eagles roll over the Bobcats on Friday night.
Very nice.
Well, John, you look at our Pick'em standings next. You want to go into some of the polls from this week?
Ooh, I want to do the Pick'em last.
Let's do the Pick'em last. Okay, perfect. Let's look through the poll here, and then we'll roll into that. I have not seen this poll, so you'll get live reaction from Kevin Thomas as John goes through this.
All right. I think
so we'll see how that goes.
you're gonna like some of these. Yeah, you're gonna like some of these. We'll start. I like going from the bottom to the top here.
Okay.
We'll go with 5A though, but we'll go 10 up to 1.
Perfect.
Checking in, first time this year at number 10, Somerville.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Green Wave.
Yeah, that's fine. They earned it last week.
Number 9, they drop a spot, I think, or maybe they stay the same. Number 9 is Spartanburg. Number 8, TL Hanna.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7, Gaffney. Dropping back a little bit here. Number 6 is Sumter. 5 is Dorman. 4 are the Burns Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 3 is Hillcrest. Number 2, Fort Dorchester. And number 1, Dutch Fort. Dutch Fort getting all the first place votes as well.
I don't hate that. It's not bad. I would say, Dorman and Burns could probably be flipped possibly. I think Dorman's played a little higher classification opponent, a little better for the first couple weeks, but both teams have looked very impressive. TL Hanna, a team that we probably hadn't talked enough about. They lost a ton of seniors, blew out Bowling Springs week 0, beat a good Greenville team last week. They're looking very good as well. Spartanburg, we know they're good. They just play some really good competition. I don't hate that 5A poll. That's not too bad.
Yeah, I think I'd have all those teams there.
Yeah.
Shuffle around slightly a little bit. But I really do like the top 3. I think the top 3 are pretty spot on. Go down to 4A. So we have a tie for 10 between Indiana and New Ridgeview. At number 9, we have James Island. Number 8 is Catawba Ridge. 7 is Irmo. 6, Hartsville. 5 is South Florence. 4, West Florence. I'll flip those. 3 is AC Flora. 2, Northwestern. And number 1 is South Point.
I have a hard time not having South Florence 2 or 3. Honestly.
Yeah, South Point, Northwestern 1 and 2. I don't argue that.
Yeah.
I probably have South Florence 3.
Yeah. Honestly, they may, for me, jump Northwestern. We're giving some Northwestern so much credit for blowing out Rock Hill.
You're right.
Who's Rock Hill?
That is a good point.
The Clover win's more impressive just because of the team status, I guess. But South Florence, that win they had over Goose Creek, dominating fashion, and then obviously over a good Oceanside team. It's hard to find 2 better wins in the state so far than those 2.
That's a good point.
But,
I would put the South Point win over Gaffney.
Yeah.
Probably for that classification. Well, heck, maybe for the state.
Yeah.
It's the best win so far this year. But I think 4A, if you want to, you can put them however you want. But South Point, Northwestern, AC4, South Florence, and then I think you have a step the rest of the state.
We'll see about Hartsville this week. If Hartsville dominates Camden, I think they've earned a spot. But
I agree.
I want to see how that goes.
I agree with that. And hey, let's see what Irmo does against River Bluff.
Yeah,
if Irmo is very impressive against River Bluff, that'll put the Yellow Jackets in a serious conversation too. And Ridgeview, gosh, if Ridgeview could just got it.
Play to the potential.
I don't think they're playing. I don't think they're going full 100% yet. But if they do, who knows? Go down to 3A. So number 10 is Beaufort. 9, Hanahan. 8, Woodruff, which kind of surprises me there. 7 is Seneca. Maybe they are the 7th best team in the state. I don't think they've proved that yet, but that's where they are right now. 6 is Gilbert. 5 is Clinton. 4, Powdersville. 3, Dillon. 2, Camden. And 1 is Daniel. I don't know about Woodruff. I don't know about Seneca.
Yeah.
Hanahan and Beaufort. I like Beaufort. I would put Beaufort a little higher.
I was going to say, yeah, obviously Beaufort lost to Fort D last week. That's a top 2 5A program. People forget, this Beaufort team is a team that played for state in 4A last year.
That's right.
They dropped down to 3A, and you're going to put them at 10 in the rankings?
That's where they're at.
They're probably, I put them 7, probably in my spot. Bump them guys down. But just 3A is so deep. I mean,
I'd say 6 or 7 would be very fair.
We're talking about teams that aren't even in the top 10. The guys like Brooklyn Casey or Marlboro County, the HP have all looked really good. 3A is so deep, man. It's hard to complain too much about that poll.
I'd probably have Marlboro County in the top 10 this week.
Very impressive.
After their win
Very
against
impressive.
I think that would be very fair. And it's tough to drop BC out.
Yeah.
I know that was an ugly loss at Burns, but
bounced back last week very nicely.
And hey, maybe Burns is the best team in the state. Who knows? Going to 2A. Number 10, Silver Bluff.
Hanging in
there. Number 9, Beaufort. Number 8 is Sherrall. I don't know, but they're 8. 7 is Wade Hampton. 6 is Gray. 5 is Fairfield Central. 4 is Barnwell. They're getting 3 first place votes. Number 3 is Oceanside. They're getting 7 first place votes.
Turn the camera off.
Number 2 is Abbeville. And number 1 in 2A, the Saluda Tigers.
Look at
How
that.
do you like it? Saluda getting 6 first place votes.
I've heard they're loaded. They haven't played a great team yet. I'm hard pressed to not put Oceanside even with a loss at 2 or 1. Honestly, that's surprising. They're at 3 there behind Abbeville. And we saw them last year. Abbeville was a good team last week. We saw that, but
very good team.
4 teams from Oceanside is very impressive. That's not stuff with the 2A team. That's stuff with the 4 and 5A team. What Oceanside.
I think Oceanside is, to me, from what we've seen so far, Oceanside is clearly number 1.
Yeah. So who are some teams that aren't in that, or do we have Marion's not in there?
Marion's not in there.
My King Street guys, I'm telling you, watch out for them.
So
they even get a vote. I
have a question.
Oh gosh.
Fairfield Central's 3A, correct?
2A this year.
They're
dropped
2A.
down. Yep.
They've got no love. No love here.
We got a 5. We got a 5 in 2A.
Oh wait. I'm sorry. I'm getting all confused.
Yeah.
I was thinking they weren't even top 10. Okay, they're 5. All right. I'll adapt that. Fair.
Coming here, Thomas says Saluda definitely led, but Oceanside takes his number 1 spot. Yeah, Oceanside has been great. Thomas, also great to see at the game last Friday. Man, enjoyed that. Comment from John says Burns is going to kill Greenville. They have one of the best secondaries in the state in defensive line right now. Burns is the number 1 defense in South Carolina in a top 6 offense. We'll see. John, like I said, they play 2 3A schools. We'll learn a lot more this week against Greenville. Obviously, we'll get into region play as well. But they have certainly looked very impressive. And what's so crazy about it is they such a turnaround. Last year the defense was not good at all. Defense has been really a calling card so far.
Much better.
The Rebels are looking good on that side of the ball. Comment here from Terrence says Wade Hampton's a sleeper. Wade Hampton's always tough in 2A. Are they? They're 7 in that poll. Okay, they're always tough. Tough place to play down there too, man. Tough place to play.
Yeah, there's some good teams that got no. I say no love, but not in the top 10 in the area. Not in the top 10. Chesterfield. We just don't know about Chesterfield yet.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think they're probably a top 10 caliber team. They just haven't stepped on the field yet. Andrew Jackson.
Yep.
They certainly could be a top 10 program as well. And now we go down to 1A. Number 10, Lakeview. Now this is exciting. Louisville is number 9.
Okay.
But Louisville's got 1 first place vote.
How do they get a number 9? Is that the only vote they got? Somebody got first, nobody else voted for them?
That could be.
I'd put them higher than that for what they're playing right now. My goodness.
Number 8, seems a little unfair. Number 8 is Lamar.
Yeah, tough luck loss.
Dillon's really good. That's tough. That seems a little harsh. 7 is Baptist Hill. 6 is St. Joseph's, 5 Johnsonville, 4 Whale Branch. Third, still getting 3 first place votes, is 0-2 Southside Christian. They haven't played anybody in the state yet either.
Yeah.
Number 2, getting 1 first place vote, is Christ Church. And then number 1 is Bamberg-Ehrhardt.
It's tough. I mean, because you feel like when you read this poll, they're penalizing teams for playing tough competition.
I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Southside Christian's played 2 teams that are very, very good, and they're bumped from 2 that really lost. I mean, obviously you don't want to lose 2 games, but I don't know. That's weird to me how that's happening. But
and we don't know, and I'll admit it, we don't know a ton about these out-of-state friends. There's a handful of them we know. Oh wow, they have a lot of talent that typically comes out every year. We know that much. We know who some of the bigger programs are. We don't really know that much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the guys in the media prep poll. Maybe they do. I find it hard pressed. They know a ton about these teams either. Southside Christian could have been very impressive in some of these games, and we just don't know how good those other teams are.
Yeah.
So
Couple comments.
it'll all work itself out.
Couple comments here. Derek says they deserve number 10 right now for Lakeview until we get back to Lakeview football. Yeah, they'll get another win this week. I feel like keep climbing the polls, keep figuring it out. Now they've got some young guys in key spots they got to figure out, but we'll see how that goes.
We got someone that's asking for trouble here.
Let's see. We had a comment from Bradley said, "You guys talked Gaffney Hammond yet?" We did. That was one of our Kona games of the week, so that's the beginning of the show. So when we get done here, go back and listen to the beginning. It's one of the first things we talk about there. Other comments we have from John says Gaffney's no good this year. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. They played South Point, played a half a quarter against Union. We'll see what happens. Those guys have a ton of athletes, as we know.
It's not that they're not talented.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here.
They're young.
Next couple weeks.
They're young. They're going to get better and better. Once region play rolls around, I think they're going to be ready to go. And gosh, it's crazy that we're even having this conversation.
A week, 2 weeks in. Some teams haven't played a game.
Yeah. 4 weeks ago, if someone would have been like, "Ooh, Gaffney fans aren't feeling too good. People are saying Gaffney's no good." I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Is everyone high? What happened? We got a lot of football to be played.
Yeah.
There's a lot left to be decided.
Yeah, but as always, John and I, we don't necessarily agree with those polls. We got our own poll coming out here soon enough, folks. We're working on that, so we'll get that good. But John, before we get to our pick'em here, give another quick shout out to our friends at Security Advantage Federal Credit Union. Our preview show brought to you by those guys. They have a clear purpose to improve the financial lives of their members. They offer much lower loan rates and don't charge the fees the other banks do. Whatever your personal journey, they're there to offer you smart financial solutions. SecurityAdvantageSU.com. SecurityAdvantageSU.com. Also, our friends at the George Agency, serving the insurance needs of telecom for over 35 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Merrill's Inlet. They can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, etc. Whether you're a seasonal employee, small business owner, give Richard, Bradley, Wayne, and the crew a call at georgeagency.net. Our Game of the Week sponsor, Kona, there, John. They offer the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. Kona offers a synergistic approach for spine, skeletal system, nervous system, and supporting structures. 3 community locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville. Kona.care. That's Kona.care. Then our Stock Up, Stock Down sponsor, Founders Federal Credit Union. Get your head in the game with Founders Federal Credit Union. See how a Founders membership can elevate your financial game. Train your financial skills with a wide array of financial tools and services. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com. That's RelaxJoinFounders.com. Relax with Founders Federal Credit Union. So shout out to our good friends there who help us make this show possible each week, make it possible to go to games each week, John. And then also shout out here to our pick'em sponsor, Hanna Engineering, and our Week 1 leaderboard here. A 3-way tie at the top. Ben B, Dale B, and Robbie all with 10 right. Also shout out to our friend of the program, part of the Movin the Chains crew here, Jarrell Hendricks, also got 10, John.
Very nice.
We did pretty good with 9. I was happy with our scores there. Also 9 for Charlie H, Corey R, Bradley R, Joshua T, David C, Rashodi B, Jeff M, and Sylvia D. So a nice bounce back for everybody. We had kind of a tough week in week 0 for across the board.
We did.
A lot of good scores this week, a lot of 10s and 9s. So hats off you guys for our Week 1 leaders there. And our overall leaders, don't forget, guys, we will be dropping your lowest score. We have not done that yet because it's only been 2 weeks, of course. But so far through 2 weeks, we've got Dale B with 18.
All right.
David C, 17. Lance and Nicholas at 16. James and Ryan at 16. Jimmy and Corey at 16. Sherman and Tom at 15. Charlie and Mike at 15. Joshua and Mark at 15. Jeff and Dexter at 15. Jarrell at 17. I'm at 15. John, you're at 14. We got some catching up to do here, John.
We're in the ball game.
We are.
We're in the ball game. We're not too far off. We had a good week. We had a good week last week.
We are.
Going the right direction.
But yeah, big shout out to our Hanna Engineering friends. They're sponsored by our Pick'em. So definitely get into that. We posted on Tuesdays. Also posted, via email. It's on our website. It's on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Get in there. So we're dropping your weekly, your lowest score, so you can still catch up. We got a weekly or a seasonal prize at the end of the year. Also going to do a couple weekly prizes as well. So definitely hop in there, and it's not too late. So definitely be in there as part of that. John said he's got Dorman going 12-2. John, get in the pick'em, man. Make some pick'ems there. Love to have it. But John, this has been another great preview show. Lots of good games this week. What are your final thoughts kind of on Friday night here in week 2?
I feel like we have a lot of games, and this is typical out of reaching play. A lot of teams cross classifications where it's really hard to tell who's going to win.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell who the better team is. And it makes it so exciting. Next Friday is so exciting because, some teams that, hey, they're decent or, maybe they're not as good as we thought they were. And then some other teams like, hey, these guys might be really good, but we're really going to find out this Friday. It's just, as the season goes, we just peel back some more layers of the onion and see who's for real, who's a pretender. And this is going to be a week where we really find a lot. They say, and we're both wearing our PGA shirts today, they call Saturday moving day on the golf tournament. I feel like this week is kind of like a moving week for a lot of programs to determine, how good guys really are. It's going to be pretty exciting Friday.
I like that. If you guys, this is your first time watching, we appreciate you. Like, share, follow us here on Facebook at Movin Chains. Also, we're on Twitter and Instagram, Movin Chains as well. We do a few more updates throughout the week on those platforms, also some graphics and whatnot on Instagram there. We also got a brand new website, movinchains.com. We have a message board. We have our road trip on there. We have some really cool stuff. Our polls are coming out soon enough. Another thing we're doing this year, guys, on Friday night after the games, check us out on Twitter for Friday Night Spaces. Basically, we're doing a live show where we're kind of going through scores, going through breakdowns of the games we were at, letting you guys join in and tell us about the game that you were at. So super cool to do. Check us out on Twitter at Movin Chains, MovinChains on Twitter for Friday Night Spaces. Really fun thing to be a part of there, John. I do want to give a quick shout out to our players of the week from this week.
Yes.
We had running back Jonah Norris from Lexington, 328, 5 touchdowns. Receiver Avery McFadden from Hillcrest, 8 catches, 241, and 3 touchdowns.
Record setting.
Yes, a school record there for Avery. And then running back Jarvis Green from Dutch Fork, 23 carries, 306 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Hats off to Jarvis, Jonah, and Avery.
And he had to do it. Had to do it to get the win.
Yes. Big time performance from all those guys. So if you see a big performance, send it to us. We post every Saturday. Let us know. Send us the stats because we can only pick from people we see. We don't see everybody. So if you have a stat list or whatever, get it over to us and we'll hopefully
defense counts too.
That's right.
Let's get some linebacker and safety and defensive lineman stats in here too.
No doubt about it. But John, looking forward to Friday night. It's going to be a lot of good ball games. Like I said, if you guys are at one, let us know. But for John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. It's been our Movin the Chains Week 2 preview show, and we'll catch you guys next week.